It's no secret the price of a barrel of oil is low, dipping even below the $27 mark this week. While it's not good economic news for the province, Albertans might be feeling a bit of joy at the pumps as gasoline prices also fall. But is the price at the pump as closely tied to oil as we think? And are low prices here to stay? And joining us now to shed some light on the price at the pump is Michael Irvin, Senior Vice President with the Kent Group and a specialist in petroleum marketing economics. Joining us tonight from Victoria. Hi there, Michael.
Hi, Shauna.
Maybe let's start with just how much of a factor oil prices are and what we're currently paying at the pump.
Well, crude oil prices do factor into the pump price, absolutely. They factor pretty largely compared to most products that consumers buy. Crude oil, of course, being the raw material from which gasoline is made. There's other factors, however. There's really four things that make up the pump price. Crude is only one of them. The other three being the refiner's markup, or crack spread as it's often known in the industry, the markup at the retail level, and of course taxes that go on to all of that.
Okay, let's talk about refining. How does refining factor into the prices then?
Well, you know, depending on the time of the year or other weather-related or refinery-related factors, refining can be far more important than crude price in determining what the price of the gasoline pump is going to show today. Sometimes the crack spread is down around 10 cents per liter. In other words, the markup from crude to the wholesale price. And other times it's been as high as 30 cents per liter. So that actually makes crude oil price changes sometimes pale in comparison when you look at what's happening to refiner crack spreads.
Well, given the oil glut, is there a case building for more refining?
Well, no, and there hasn't been for some time. And in fact, the long-term prognosis for gasoline demand in North America is down. We're seeing better fuel-efficient cars, electric vehicles, ethanol being displacing gasoline refining. All of these factors and more really point to a long-term decline in gasoline demand. And with that, the business case for building more refining capacity is pretty low.
Of course, we mentioned oil slipping below $27 at one point this week, so Albertans might be expecting to be gassing up for even less soon, almost, for peanuts. Could that actually happen?
Well, it's always been very difficult to determine and forecast crude prices, but certainly if they do go below their current levels, then that's all other things being equal, those other three factors, we're going to see a decline in the price at the pump again, for sure.
Is there a seasonal factor to this, Michael?
There typically is a seasonal factor, and that's where crack spreads come in. Demand for gasoline typically goes up in the spring and summer, and with that, in the early part of the spring and summer, we typically see crack spreads go up, so that even if crude prices aren't increasing, we often do see pump prices go up as a result of the wholesale price going up, in turn as a result of higher crack spreads.
So should Albertans get used to these low prices, or might we pay more for summer travel plans that we may have currently?
Well, I think the crack spread seasonality is going to be fairly muted, particularly in Western Canada, because it's a depressed economy. Demand for products like gasoline and diesel are down, and so that's creating actually spare capacity at the refineries, and that tends to reduce the amount of crack spread seasonality that we do see. So that's good news for consumers, not great news for refiners, and certainly continued not good news for crude oil producers with the low crude oil price.
I just want to talk very briefly about diesel versus gasoline. Are there pressures as they also move independently of each other in the price of a barrel?
Well, that's right. The seasonality of diesel really is different. It's basically the opposite of that for gasoline. So gasoline demand is higher in the summer. Diesel demand in Western Canada is pretty much flat all year round. In other words, there's very little seasonality to it. Seasonality factors more into gasoline. In the case of diesel, right now, there's a lot of production to spare capacity. And again, because of the downturn in the economy, and particularly the fact that the oil sector is not running at the capacity that it used to, well, diesel prices are quite soft right now.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for your time, Michael. We appreciate your time.
My pleasure.